This week I cheated on the carnivore diet after being so strict on myself for the last 5 months. I was almost to month 6, and in this video I'm going to tell you what happened and how it affected me and what I'm doing moving forward. Stay tuned to the end to find out about a new challenge that I have started this week. So what happened? Did Mike know? Did I get sick? Was I spiraling? Am I spiraling? These are all great questions. And basically, some friends of mine from church, we are doing a version of the 75 hard, and that began this past Monday, and it will go until September 2nd. If you would like to do it with me, I'm happy to continue till your 75th day if you choose to start today, which is Friday. Let me see, what's the date? Okay, so Friday, June 27th, if you would like to do the 75 hard with me, or my version of the 75 hard, I will count today as day 1 if you want to be partners in this and kind of modify it to fit what you need to do. But essentially what happened was my friends and I decided to do this, and we started Monday, this past Monday of this week. So Sunday night, I'm talking to my husband, and I'm like, look, I kind of want to cheat. And this is nothing new. This is a conversation we have a couple times a month, usually related to the fact that I have not gotten like my proper macros, and so I'm feeling peckish and feeling like I'm, you know, just itching for some sugar. And he was like, no, you know, don't, that's not worth it. So I really wanted a cookie. I'm a sweets person. I'm not gonna be one of those people who are like, I just miss my veggies. No, I miss sweets. I miss sugar. I miss junk food. You know, I debated about even saying any of this, like if I was gonna share this or not on social media, but I promised myself and you guys that I would be really upfront about my journey. And I think this humanizes a lot of people on social media because no one's like path is perfect, even though this was a very intentional decision and it wasn't something where I was like spiraling out of control. So I call my dad and I'm like, look, here's what I'm thinking. I'm about to enter this 75-day challenge. I would really like to have a cookie before I do this because there's a strong level of accountability with this group of girls, and I have a very clear cut what I can and can't do during the 75 hard. And you know, it would just be like one for old time's sake. And much to my surprise, he reluctantly agreed. And I'm gonna pause here about accountability, okay? You do wanna have an accountability partner that you can't talk into whatever you're wanting to do, whatever kind of bad decision you're wanting to make. And I can't talk my dad into anything. Like, that's not gonna happen. He understood where I was coming from. I would not have made this kind of decision had I not had the extreme like accountability on the other side of this day. Because at first he was like, well, why don't you do it after the 75 hard? And I was like, no, Mike, you don't understand. I need to know that like starting tomorrow, I can't budge. That kind of pressure on a situation, I thrive in that kind of situation. He agrees, and Crumble and Crave were both closed because it was a Sunday night. And so the only other place to get a cookie was Insomnia. So my husband went and got me the chocolate peanut butter like deluxe cookie. It's like half the size of your face. I think I ate maybe half of it probably. In the past, I would have like downed the whole thing in 20 more. But it was very sweet, and like it was too sweet. I don't say often. And it wasn't just because I was on carnivore. Like, it was just too sweet. And neither of us finished the cookie that we had got. I did get sick. It did make me sick. I also gained weight from it, even though it was like half a cookie. I'm telling you this story because ultimately in the past, the last time I made this kind of decision, I like went off the rails and gained half of my weight back. And in doing this, it was a very unemotional like decision. I mean, obviously it was emotional because I wanted sugar, but I'm saying it wasn't a decision that I like spiraled into. It happened. That was almost a week ago now, and I'm fine. I haven't cheated since. I haven't like desired to go off the rails, and I felt really proud of myself for that because I'm on carnivore now for twice as long as I was the first time. I have nightmares sometimes that in my dream I have like gorged myself on cheat food, and I have this feeling in the pit of my stomach that like what happens next is unstoppable. Like the progression of gaining all the weight back just can't be helped. It's just like gonna happen. And I'll wake up from these nightmares and I'm like, oh, it was just a dream. And I think there was just a lot of fear that like I couldn't suddenly control myself if I were to have sugar. And I will definitely say it doesn't help your cause to give in and do something like that. But I'm 5 days out from it. I'm back on track. I've lost what I had gained from that. It obviously set me back quite a bit. Like this week, you know, like has just been trying to make up what happened, you know, from cheating. And so I don't think it was worth it in the end. And I know everyone might feel differently about this. It wasn't even that good to begin with. I don't think it was anything to write home about, but it got it out of my system a little bit and I'm just trucking along. So that was my mini cheat story. I am still very much on carnivore. I have not stopped. And I was talking to a friend of mine today. She was saying how, you know, she watches my carnivore videos and she's not on carnivore, and she's like, I really, you know, don't care about carnivore. I just do it to support you. And I was like, honestly, I don't really talk or think about carnivore ever in my life except to make my YouTube videos. And it started clicking with me like this is truly just a lifestyle at this point. Being on carnivore is very effortless. It's mindless. Like it's just what I'm used to by now. So if you have just started or you're interested in looking into it, I would really encourage you to know that like you're not far off from feeling this way. I started February 1st and it is almost July, and I'm really happy with how long I have been on carnivore and don't have any plans to quit in the future. If anything, I'm starting to think more in terms of how I plan to adapt this long term and what I can continue to do to make it sustainable. Because if you continue to think of it as a diet, I think for me, I was always like itching to get off a diet, or I'm floating along on the diet till I reach my goal and then I'm off and then I gain it all back. And so thinking about how to adapt this lifestyle long term has been something I'm gonna really pray about and look into over the 75 hard, because I saw someone commented that what they do, and they've done this for years, is once a month they'll eat whatever they want basically, and then every other day of the month they're on carnivore. And I thought that was so interesting, and they've been doing this for a long time and it's what keeps them doing it. And I just loved hearing how people maintain carnivore for the long haul. So if you are on carnivore, if you've been on carnivore for, let's just say like more than 6 months or more than a year, I'd love to hear what you do to adapt it fully, embrace it fully, and how long you plan on being on, or if this is just how you plan to eat for the rest of your life. Please share with me like what you do to, I guess, kind of like keep trucking. So going into the 75 hard, I have tried the 75 hard in the past, and actually I have a little bit of PTSD from the 75 hard because it was the last TikTok video I made last summer before I went MIA and like just spiraled, because I made that video in this like last ditch attempt to stay on carnivore. It was just a cry for help. If you go watch it on TikTok now, it's still up. It cracks me up because like the next day I just stopped everything. I stopped trying. I use the term 75 hard loosely because I know that for the actual challenge, there are some very like specific things you have to do. So I'm gonna share what I'm doing. It follows pretty closely in line with what the challenge itself is, but this is just something for me that is a more sustainable version, and I hope to work up to being able to complete the 75 hard in its entirety. But right now I was like, let me make it more digestible to what realistically I can do. I think there's a fine line and a difference between pushing yourself and then doing something that you just literally can't do at this point in time. And if you've never heard of the SMART goals, I really love these. We do these on staff at my job, and you basically set these goals and you break it down into steps. And one of the steps is it attainable? Like, are you actually capable of completing this? And I don't mean like, will it be a challenge? You know, like, do you literally have time, and are you able to physically do this? Like, if I set a goal that in 75 days I was gonna run a marathon, that is dreaming quite a bit. I'm not a runner, and so that is not attainable. If I wanted to do a 5K, sure, I could train for that over the next 75 days. So it's just making it doable for your current station in life. For my 75 hard, what I'm gonna do, I'm starting the day off every day with water, and this might not seem like that big of a deal, but there are lots of other things that I will end up drinking before I ever drink water. I have a daily water goal of 120 ounces. I'd say like half the time I hit this, even without the challenge, but I really want to start my day off by drinking ice water, and so I've been doing that this week. It's been so nice. Like, I really do crave water during the day, and I want that to be the first thing I crave, not like the last thing, my last resort. I start my day off with a devotional and quiet time, and if you are not religious, then journaling or a meditation or something that you just feel like feeds your mind and your soul a little bit before the start of the day. And I've been doing the Joyce Meyer Promises for Everyday Life, I think it is, on the Bible app, and then I'll read a chapter of the Bible in the morning. Another thing is putting some limitations on myself for screen time, and specifically when I'm feeding my daughter, because there will be times where, like, I mean, I'm sure if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about, like, you're barely awake when you're feeding them, so you're trying to stay awake. So I just found myself like scrolling on my phone while she was eating sometimes, and I wanted to stop that. So either I don't have my phone during the feedings, or if I do have my phone, I can only do quiet time on it or journal. I can't just be like scrolling social media. So yeah, just trying to limit my screen time and not be just wasting my day on social media. The next thing I'm doing is reading a book or like an academic article, or just consuming media that is educational or betters me in any way, not just like mind rotting on TikTok or YouTube like I tend to do, and I'm sure a lot of us do. I'm also not trying to eat away from home. This is something I really did a lot in May, and while it was never breaking carnivore, it just did not help with my effort in weight loss. I stalled a lot of that month, and in June and just in summer in general, it's really easy for my calendar to book up with just social outings, or, you know, I'm up working in my classroom, so we pick up lunch, or we don't pick up lunch and I'm starving, and so then I like go through Sonic and get, you know, Coke Zero and burger patties. Like, I just want to be better about using my money and my resources to eat at home and prepare for meals away from home. And when we're eating out, it's a special occasion, because that's just an easy way for me to end up stalling. It's just not worth it, and it's like you're putting in all this effort on carnivore to see results, and then you're kind of just, you know, cutting yourself off at the knees because you're not really tightening up on these extra things. And so I'm really making an effort to not eat away from home so much for the bank account and just for the weight loss efforts. I also have to be active or outside for at least 30 minutes a day. And at first, one of the biggest differences for the Real 75 Hard is you have to do 2 workouts a day. They have to be 45 minutes, and one of them has to be outside. Well, it is like 100 something degrees in Louisiana, and also like a 100% humidity. It's miserable to be outside, and so I'm not forcing myself to be outside, but I do want to be outside and not like cooped up indoors all day. And then being active, whether that's swimming or doing work around the house, just not being sedentary. That's a really big thing that I'm trying to, you know, purpose to do. No alcohol, which I don't, on carnivore and not on carnivore, I don't drink, and so it doesn't really matter, but that's one of the criteria. And then the last thing is maintaining a diet, and so my chosen diet is carnivore. It doesn't force a diet on you, it's one of your choosing. And so I will be sticking with carnivore, and I'm gonna try and do carnivore in its most extreme. And I kind of give myself a little bit too much wiggle room in this, and this is where ultimately I think the desire to cheat comes from, and then also you know, just to stall. I am really bad about still drinking diet soda. I usually have a diet soda multiple times a week. I'm also still bad about, on vacation, I had shared with y'all a couple weeks ago, I bought some of like the keto approved candy, and I have continued to buy that. That's not carnivore. And I think it's one of the things that's making me crave sugar. And so getting rid of those and going back to the basics on carnivore, because ultimately this amount of effort that I'm putting in, I want it to be matched with a certain amount of success. So these are all of the criteria that I'm following for this program. And if you want to start this with me, if you feel like you just need like an extra level of accountability, or if you just want to like push yourself more because you know you can, then do it with me. It'd be so fun. And even though I started earlier in the week, I'm happy to consider today, Friday the 27th, as day one and carry it with you through September 5th or 6th. I don't know what day that would be. I'll put the official day in the description. But let me know if you'd like to start the 75 hard with me. If you're considering carnivore, or if you're looking at another high fat, high protein diet and you'd rather do that for 75 hard, go ahead and do it. Just do it with me and we'll see how it goes. And if it's not for you, that's okay. And I think what I've learned and come to love about my journey doing carnivore is I used to think this was like the hardest thing to be done. I thought it was beyond difficult at first, and now I'm realizing that I'm really capable of pushing myself on hard things, or things that I never would have like attempted to begin with. And so I'm proud of myself for that, and this is just another level of that, because discipline should kind of transfer over into every area of my life if I'm able to really control the areas that I was the least disciplined in. All that being said, if you decide to do the 75 hard with me, let me know in the comments. And then also, if you remember earlier in the video, if you're on carnivore long term or have been for some time and you've made adjustments or maybe added things, taken away things, please let me know, because I'd love to see how you've made it sustainable for long term. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.